Welcome everyone to the Wolves Den. Today we are taking a look at a Marvel Legends action figure. This one is Rogue from the X-Men series, the Juggernaut Build-A-Figure series. Here we have her in her classic 90s uniform. Take a look at the packaging here. This nice opening up front. You can see her quite well in there. We got Juggernaut's leg hanging out right there. She comes with an extra hand. We'll take a look at that later. We got some artwork on the side here. Kind of a somewhat realistic looking drawing of her. Not really cartoony at all. It's the same drawing on both sides. Here we have a back of the package where we can see all the different figures in the line and the Juggernaut Build-A-Figure. And we've got a nice image of the figure itself. And here's a little description of Rogue herself right up there in the corner. Alright, so let's bust this open and take a look at the figure itself. Alright, here we have Rogue removed from her packaging. She can stand quite well on her own, so no issues there. Let's take a look at her articulation. Starting with the head. Head has a good side-to-side movement. You know, her hair is pretty large, but it doesn't seem to hinder her the side-to-side movement. She can't move back at all because of the head, but she can move it down a little bit. Not very far, but, you know, a little bit. Alright, her arms rest to the side that far, so they can't go any far to the side, and they go up that far, but they do rotate all around. And then her elbows have the single bend there, and those do rotate all the way around. Her wrists rotate all the way around and do have the in and out movement there. Her torso does move side to side and does spin around. So good range of motion there. She can bend forward very little, but she can bend back reasonably far. Her legs do not move to the side very far at all. So there will be no doing the splits with Rogue. So no sideways movement, but she does move forward as far as you need her to, and there's even a little backwards movement you can get out of her legs there. And then she's got the thigh swivel here. The double jointed knees. Lots of movement there. And then her feet are the ankle pivots. So you can get some sideways movement on there, but no forward and back movement at all. And now let's take a closer look at the figure overall. Here's her head sculpt. It's a really good head sculpt, really good paint apps on the lips, the eyes, nice green eyes, nice eyebrows there. She does have like the blush on the cheeks, which they seem to be doing a lot more lately on figures. I mean, I've seen some without, some that's really heavy on. Her, it's not too heavy, so it doesn't look too bad. I personally could do without it, but it doesn't look too bad on this figure. Then we've got her, you know, signature white hair up front here, her skunky hair, and the rest is a big brown molded plastic piece. There is a lot of detail here as far as, you know, lots of different strands of hair going in all different directions. So, you know, it's a nice big long piece with some good detail. No wash or anything to it. So it's just all one solid color, other than the white up front. But it is molded pretty well. Then we have her jacket, which is also pretty heavy plastic, so it's not very malleable, but there's lots of nice details, lots of little ridges here, lots of nice folds and whatnot on the arms and even on the back here. Again, it's just a solid brown pretty much, but there is a lot of molded detail in there. She does have the red X-Men symbol there, which is painted on nice, also there. Her hands, this is actually a separate piece. You know, you just kind of fit it up tight against her gloves to make it look like one solid glove, but that is actually a separate piece. And it's actually useful for this hand that's separate for her spare hand. So you can easily pop this hand right off, and then that piece comes right off. And then you stick her spare hand on there, so she's got her ungloved hand if she wants to, you know, touch somebody and sap their strength, sap their powers. And that hand does have the, you know, the in and out movement too. It does look kind of large. It looks kind of like a, you know, slightly too big of a hand, but personally I probably won't be using this hand at all. So I'm just going to pop her gloved hand right back on. X-Men symbol right there is really painted on nicely. Got the other black stripes in there that are painted on nicely. She's pretty much just green and yellow, and they, you know, they do get a nice job with the shiny green paint here. She does have a loose belt, just flops around. Let's see. When you get her standing up here, let me zoom out. Oops, wrong way. At least on mine, I don't know about others, but the thigh doesn't line up. So when you have that, you know, properly set up, there's a big, oops, and I pushed her, I pushed her down. So you can see down there, there's a gap. So it doesn't line up. It lines good up on this side, you know. But this side, yeah, there's a gap, you know. Doesn't line up well. So that's one problem I have. I mean, it's not a major problem, but, you know, if those stripes lined up properly, it would look better. But it's not a, you know, a figure killer for me. She still looks good. Last thing I need to mention here is her boots. So instead of molding a brand new boot or one solid boot, they gave her these pieces that kind of just slide up and down quite easily. They're supposed to go like that to make it look like a solid boot. So instead of, you know, molding something new, they just went with this route. I guess it was cheaper just to make these two little separate pieces, you know, to try to make it look like her boots. But they can easily, you know, fall down and become loose. So when she's standing, you know, displayed, you know, those could come out of place. So I guess that's something else you'll have to deal with. But mostly overall, I do really like this figure. It is, you know, your mileage may vary with paint apps. You know, you might find one with better paint apps. Mine's pretty good overall. There's a few minor problems here and there, some missing paint or an extra little splotch of paint somewhere. It's, you know, it's kind of hard to see on camera, but there's spots here and there. It's not really that bad. But that's something I've been noticing on other Marvel Legends figures lately too. So it's not unique to Rogue. So, you know, just be on the lookout if you really care. You know, it has to be perfect. You know, I don't think you'll ever find a perfect one. But other than that, and maybe some minor articulation issues like in the legs, the side-to-side movement in the legs. You know, I wish she could, you know, move out a little bit farther. Other than that, I think she's a really good figure. If you really like X-Men, if you really like Marvel Legends, if you're really a Rogue fan, this is a figure to look out for, because it's probably the best Rogue they've done in a long time, and probably will do for many years to come, because I don't know if they're ever going to move beyond this style of figure. But until then, this is probably the best Rogue you'll get for years to come. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody, and hope to see you soon.